What is going on, everyone? This is another ACK Spotlight Series interview. Per usual, I'm a country boy, country music at heart. It's what I grew up on. Everyone knows that. So we got another country artist here today, and he is a very, very talented country singer. We have Kevin Lee. Kevin, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing great. What about yourself, man?
And not too bad, It's just a nice day here. Summer's finally starting to get here. Just listening to some country music.
No better way to spend the day, right?
Exactly. Doing some chores, doing some interviews, and just listening to some good old country music. You can't complain with any of that stuff.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
So before we hop into all the questions and stuff, why don't you just tell the people a little bit about you so we can know who you are?
I'm 32 and going to be 33 here in November. I'm originally from Georgia, a little town outside of Atlanta, closer to the Alabama line. And for about the last 6 years, I've lived here in Dallas, Fort Worth area here in Texas, and just been out here, I guess, integrating some of my Georgia sound with the Texas music and making it happen.
That's awesome, man. I actually know a few people down in Texas and stuff like that. They're just grinding on music. And I mean, things are starting to open back up and stuff too from this past year with all that crazy crap. So, I mean, it's nice to start getting out there, get some shows out, and just start getting that live music back out there.
Oh, totally, totally. I miss it just as much as I miss playing. I miss going to see people for sure.
No, exactly. It's something that people don't realize that they needed until COVID hit, and then people are like, "Oh, we actually need live music again. I want to go listen to all these people. I want to go listen to some country artists and pop artists and just all like
Yeah,
go to concerts and have a good time."
for sure, for sure.
So, hopping into the first question that I normally start with is where did music start for you, man? Like, obviously, was it at an early age? Like, when did you start playing guitar? Like, just all like when did music start really taking an impact on your life?
As far back as I can remember, and from what I'm told, this is even before I can remember. I was learning country songs as my mom would be driving around town, and supposedly I was singing songs like from Doug Stone, "Better Off in a Pine Box." Supposedly was the first song I ever learned. I don't remember it, but suppose I was around 2 or so years old and knew every word. And um, I guess it's always been there. And then, did chorus, choir, whatever you want to call it, in elementary school, middle school, little bit of high school, and just started progressively getting into writing. I think I've been writing since I was like 8 years old. Of course, those songs probably aren't as good as the ones nowadays, but and since then, on and off playing guitar. Being a teenager, I was doing too much, and I was too, I have ADHD, so I was like, I can't get it in 3 tries or in 20 minutes. I'm going to go do something else. But little by little, I guess as I'm getting older, I'm being able to dedicate a little more time to it. So it's a work in progress on the guitar play.
No, absolutely. And I mean, that's like kind of, I started at a young age too. Like, I mean, not singing it because if I start singing, people know windows will start cracking and the screen, all that fun stuff. But I mean, I've just always had a passion for music, especially from a young age. And I think, obviously, for people that remember, you were on my country class showcase. And we kind of, I think we kind of have the same vibe when we lean towards some country music. It kind of goes back to that 90s early 2000s country music. Would you say that's probably like where a lot of your like inspiration and stuff comes from?
Oh, for sure. I mean, 90s country, even a little bit early 2000s, late 80s was, the prime. Maybe it's because that's when I grew up, but to me, that's where I always reach to if I want to do a cover, if I'm just wanting to relax and listen to something. 90s country is just, it is what it is. And I mean, I'll be blared at my headphones at the gym. Everybody's thinking I'm probably over there rocking out to Metallica or something, and I'm in there, listening to some old George Strait. So
No, that is awesome, man. I mean, that's just what like grew up in my house is just listening to that old country from Travis Tritt to George Jones, Waylon Jennings, and just a lot of that old time country stuff. And that's just what I reminisce on. And that's how I really started writing a few years ago too, is just
mhm,
from that because I back then country music was really into the storytelling. And
mhm.
that's, I mean, it's kind of gotten away from that and they're starting to kind of get back to it a little bit. But that's just how what really inspired me was just telling a story from the beginning to the end.
For sure.
Um, would you say kind of going back to some like inspirations and stuff, did like any family like really encourage you to start like pushing music more? Or was it just more of like kind of you saying, this is what I want to do? I enjoy doing this?
I think my mom, so she sang a little bit. She wasn't really into wanting to be, do music for a living, but she sang. So, I mean, I guess from early on, I'd hear it, I'd mimic it, we'd sing a little bit together. She supported me, doing the choir, the chorus, drove me around to all the competitions and stuff like that when I was younger. All the solos, because I was one of the few guys and that was doing choir as it is. And then, I guess process of elimination is they chose me for a lot of the male solos. So between that and then her encouragement, my grandfather who passed away back in 2012, I believe 2011, 2012, and yeah, they were big influences and supporters of my music.
Yeah. No, and I totally get that. I mean, because you probably heard me numerous times, and a lot of my friends and family know that that's where my music really started coming from, is when my grandfather passed away in 2018. And I wrote that song that my friend, best friend Nathan Vasquez, ended up recording, and hopefully we'll get out there soon for the people to get all produced up and stuff. But it was just, he was always a big impact on my life, and I just needed to share some of that stuff with people, and that's how I started writing music. And then that took off, and people were like, "Wow, that's like really special and stuff." And I was like, "I know, it's just." I mean, a lot, because that's where a lot of my music comes from, is just from emotions and, like I said, just telling stories and stuff. And I'm assuming that's probably where a lot of your stuff comes from as well.
Oh, totally, totally. Everything that I write, I would say 99.9% of it is, true from, my life experience or something I'm going through just at the time. And I'm with you. It definitely is a way to kind of connect it's the way to vocalize stuff that you normally wouldn't say, to someone or to a group of people.
No, exactly. And I think when we were texting earlier today, just getting ready for the interview and stuff, I was listening to some of your stuff that you have out now on like Apple Music and Spotify and stuff. And it reminisces with me, like The Villain and I'm Not Okay and stuff like that. Like it hits a different place in my heart, just because you can tell like that stuff's like from like raw emotions and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
No, of course, man. So kind of talking a little more about your songwriting, is how do you kind of form a song? Like, where does like all that start for you? Because obviously everyone has different techniques. Like some people like hear a melody and they're like, okay, I can work off of this. But then some people just kind of start with like the idea and start jotting things down. So what is your creative process like?
Man, I'd say most of the time it's dumb luck. It's somebody saying something, me saying something, a phrase or a couple words, popping in my head. Most of the time it's when I'm up in the morning heading to work. It's 5:30 a.m. and I'm driving and there's nobody really on the road aside from a few people, and I'm listening to music and drinking my energy drink, and the next thing I know, something pops in my head. I'll jot it down real quick, and sometimes I write it, as unsafe as it is, sometimes I'll write a little bit while I'm driving and, get to work, maybe finish it if I have a couple minutes. And, then sometimes phrase pops in my head and I go from nothing to a full song in, between 10, 15 minutes or so.
No, that's crazy. And like even like a lot of my songwriting too comes from like just like I'll tell you, everyone always thinks I'm crazy when I say this, but like I'll be in the shower, dude, and like I'll just be like singing, like I'll be singing some like 90s country, and then all of a sudden I'll start singing my own stuff and just making up words. And then if I just start jotting some things down and I kind of just build on it within the day, and like even in like a couple hours, I could have like a real good song like all set ready to go, and just kind of working with some artists and stuff like that. And it's I mean, because when I wrote that song for my grandfather, that I mean that was from emotions and stuff, but I mean that only took me probably not even like an hour and a half just to write that full song.
For
And
sure.
it's
No,
just
I can definitely understand that. It's and that's the cool thing. That's the incredible thing about music, in my opinion. It brings people together, and it's almost like you're creating, at least to you and to the people that enjoy it. You're creating a masterpiece from absolutely nothing, and it's something that just pops out of nowhere, and it's just there. And sometimes it does magical things to people in their lives, and the people around them.
no, exactly. And that's a big part of my songwriting, is when I write a song, like if I can help someone else down the road, like and help them what they're going through, like by writing a song like through my emotions, like that's kind of like what I want to get out of my music and stuff when I write songs as well. And I think that's probably kind of like some of your stuff as well, for sure, because I'm Not Okay, one of your songs that you have out, that one hit me a little different, just because like I mean I kind of like knew like the background, not the background of it, but like I knew, like I could tell from the story, like that just hit me differently, you know?
Mm. Yeah, definitely. That one, I mean, I remember the moment. And the weird thing is, in songwriting, you kind of almost remember the moment that you write something, especially if it's something that really means something to you or something that you really take a lot of pride in. I can remember, I would say 90% of the songs that I really love can remember the moment I thought about it, the moment that I wrote it down, and I can almost remember every moment of recording it. So,
No,
yeah.
and that's just awesome, and it's such a cool memory just to remember that stuff. And kind of, I usually don't ask this question a lot, but like, so your first song that you ever came out with, like, what was your feeling behind that? Like, when you actually like released like a song, like with your name on it? Because like, I know when
Mhm.
I released my first song, "Lonely" with Alexa Mashka, shout out to her, "Lonely." Like, it was just cool to like have some like all of a sudden like I'm on Spotify or Apple Music and like I just see my name on there. Like, what was kind of your like thought process like when that was happening?
So, well, I've done some research, was trying to figure out how to get my songs out on, Spotify, the Apple Music.
Mhm.
And in doing that, I put out I'm Not Okay. Never made it a single. It was just, kind of release something I wanted to do as a bucket list before I turned 30 at that time. And, the first song I released as a single was What Your Love Is Like. And, being able to see it, like you said, on Apple, on iTunes, and then it got picked up on radio and it went through the countdown out in Atlanta, 94.9 The Bull, Backyard Country, where they get all the local country stars, people like Craig Campbell and Nico Moon and even Luke Bryant and those guys, they were on that years and years ago. I remember growing up listening to them. So it was surreal. It was, the fact that anybody would want to listen to something at that time that I wrote, is something I'd never done up to almost 30 years, until I was 30 years old. So it was cool.
No, that's awesome. So one of my hardest questions that I have, we were kind of talking about this before we started the interview. Everyone always freezes up on this question because it is a very, very tough question because some people don't fully know what they want to do or who they want to be yet. And with the last year with COVID and all of that, it was kind of hard. And a lot of people were really pushing themselves on social media to try and get out there more and stuff like that. But there's a lot of up and coming artists in all genres from country to rap to pop and just all that. But what would you say makes you different compared to all these other artists? Like, what makes Kevin Lee Kevin Lee?
And I guess to answer that question simply, what I want to portray is just me. You got some people that come out and they say I want to be the next Luke Combs or I want to be the next Florida Georgia Line, and I really don't have the aspiration to come out and be anybody aside from me. I want to be able to deliver songs that I write, songs that I feel. I don't care if they're not going to all be played on the radio. I don't care if they're not streamed 150 billion times, and I want to bring art and life back into music, especially country music, because that's what I do. I think for a lot of years we've kind of gotten away from that as a whole, at least mainstream wise, and I think that it's gonna take somebody, or at least to initiate it, people to keep going with it. And I think like you mentioned earlier, I think we're going in that right direction. I think artists are starting to see we want real country, we want real music, we want songs that mean something. We can still have fun, we can still sing about partying, but it doesn't all have to be that way, and we can still sing about partying a little bit more traditionally. And
No, exactly.
I
I
think.
know, I just know exactly like what you're talking about and stuff like that. And
Mm.
like I really connect with like a lot of what you're saying. And it's just cool because like that's one of my favorite words that I always love using is instant identity. So you kind of like already know like who you are and like what you want to do with the lane that you're heading down. And obviously country music is just kind of like open at the moment because there's not, like I said, it kind of like the last few years it's kind of gotten away from that 90s early 2000s stuff. So it's just cool that you're kind of bringing that back, and you can tell that from a lot of your songs that you have out and just from your covers and stuff that you do as well.
Yeah, appreciate that.
So kind of getting into like the last little question here, before we listen to some live music from you, is what are your goals as an artist, and like where do you want to go with your music, and like what else can people expect down the road from you?
Yeah. So I think there's two parts to that, to answers to that question. Short term, I want to continue getting my songs out. I've got a ton of songs that are, waiting to be cut. Some of them that are already being mixed. Got the new single that should be coming out here in the next, hopefully month or so. And then working on an EP. And the song that I'm going to be playing today is probably going to be the title track of the EP. going to get some promotional videos out, even a music video for the new single. So short term, definitely want to get you guys a little bit more to hear some of the new stuff that I've got. I mean, to me, blows away anything I've done before. I think it reminisces with who I am truly, and not, I don't think as much about what's going to sound good on the radio, what people are going to, bob their head to. A lot of it's just, it is what it is. It's me. And that's short term. And I think long term is I want to be able to put things out to inspire people, people, 20 years younger than me, and hopefully years to come, to show them that, despite whatever, whether it be, you wait till you're almost 30 and procrastinate, whether you don't have the confidence when you're younger, that at some point you can grab, the bull by the horns, metaphorically speaking, and, do what you were meant to do and do what you want to do and do it your way.
No, that is awesome, man. I love that. That is just, and like I said, I mean, I already love all your music that you have out and all the covers that you do, but I can't wait for more, to hear more. Yeah, to hear more music from you, dude. Like, it's just because you're that 90s, early 2000s country. You're just bringing it back to life, and that's what I like listening to. And I mean, your vocals and stuff, dude, are just killer. So I can't wait to hear some new stuff from you.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, no. So without kind of further ado, let's get into some music, man. If you want to just tell us a little bit about this song and how it kind of came about, and I'll just let you take the floor from here.
All right. So I hadn't played this song in a while. I've been trying to concentrate on some of my newer stuff. And but it was definitely one I want to play. It's a kind of a fun little drinking song, but it is about, real life. Whenever me and who's now my fiance, we split up a couple times, being a guy, you're opinionated and you're stubborn, and that's just what we are. And so she put me in my place a couple times. And, one of the times I had a couple people ask me, like, what do you, how's it going? How you doing? Everything all right? And they said, what are you doing? I said, well, hell, I'm drinking again, and I was like, I wrote it down, and next thing I know, cut it a couple weeks later, just an acoustic version, and decided that I think that'll be probably a good one to put on the EP, and maybe everybody will like it a little bit.
Absolutely.
All right. So let's see if I can actually do this, but do it justice. Well, this song is called Drinking Again, and it will be on the upcoming EP. So.
Awesome.
I swore to swear it off, and I did a little. It was quite a break, to say the least. Nothing getting over left me in the middle, between where I was and where I want to be. Well, I'm drinking again, even though it won't change a thing. Well, I can't lean on no Jim Beam until I don't need to mask the pain. I'm closing it down. Here's to another morning stumbling in, waking up in bed, putting me back up steps. I'm never drinking again. I sort of kept that promise for a little while. Kept myself too busy to thank her. But between the memories and the things she left, and the fact that I just can't forget, I bet you can guess what occurred. Well, I'm drinking again, even though it won't change a thing. I can't lean on no Jim Beam until I don't need to mask the pain. I'm closing it down. Here's to another morning stumbling in, waking up in bed, putting me back up steps. I'm never drinking again. Well, I'm closing one more down, ignoring the warnings I get. Here's to quitting getting right, but it ain't happening tonight, 'cause I'm drinking again. I'm never drinking again. Right.
Awesome job, man. Awesome
I
job.
appreciate that. Thank you.
No, of course. And I mean, obviously, I don't know if you saw while you were playing. I was singing along a little bit already to it. So I mean, hell of a song, hell of a
I
song.
appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
No, of course. So that's kind of it for today. I mean, we had some fun here. Appreciate you coming on, dude. Like, I really appreciate it because you were super, super talented. You're definitely up and coming, and I just hopefully more people just come and listen to you, dude, because you just have a gift.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate the invite, appreciate the kind words. And, what you're doing is doing nothing but helping, artists like us, giving everybody a chance to see, the people that they may not hear on an everyday basis. And, what you're doing is more important than you'll probably ever know to a lot of people. So we appreciate that. And I do for sure.
No, thank you, dude. And I appreciate that. And like I've said it numerous times, like in some interviews and stuff too. It's just what I'm trying to do. Like, I mean, yeah, I want to get my name out there too, but I just want to help all these other people because you guys have the gift. I mean, like I wish I could sing. Like I beat myself up all the time. I'm like, I wish I could sing, but I'm like, hey, I'm fine with the songwriting. I'm fine with making beats and melodies, and I'm fine with just helping other artists just get more exposure and stuff like that. Because that's what it's all about.
For sure. It takes all of us to make this.
Exactly. And I mean, those connections in music business are just so important because the music business is one of the hardest businesses out there, honestly.
For sure.
Yes, and yeah, I mean, without further ado, I mean, that's the end of this episode. Before we kind of end it all, really, before I say my goodbyes and stuff, where can we find you on like Instagram and all that stuff? And obviously your streaming platforms that you have music out now on.
So you can find me on Instagram at official Kevin Lee Music. Also, you can find me on Facebook, Kevin Lee Music. There's a couple of us, so don't get us confused. Just look for me and my big head. You'll be able to recognize me. Also, any of the music streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple, Napster, Tidal, whatever you decide to use, even YouTube. So check it out and definitely be looking for some new stuff.
Awesome, Kevin, dude. Thank you again for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. Thank you.
No problem. So that is another episode of the Spotlight Series interview by yours truly, ACK. Come back every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern to check out a new artist and a new episode, and I'll see y'all next week.